Humans all night. The alien vessel's silver crest had never carried a human before. The crew of tall, silver-skinned women whispered among themselves when a single human male stepped aboard. He was calm, but his eyes were sharp, scanning every light and shadow. His name was Daniel, and he came from Earth to assist them with a long mission across the border stars. The captain, Lyra, was known for her steady voice and strong command. She was proud, disciplined, and sure of her control over every living thing on her ship. But the human's quiet confidence unsettled her in a way no battle ever had. He spoke little, worked long hours, smiled only when he succeeded in solving some complex task that her best engineers had failed to understand. The ship was huge, running on living energy crystals that responded to emotion. Lyra was the first to notice that the crystals pulsed brighter whenever Daniel was near. The crew whispered that his presence carried warmth beyond science. Even the ship seemed to hum with a deeper rhythm, as though feeling something new for the first time. Her first mate, Eris, watched him too. She was tall with luminous eyes, her skin faintly reflecting the starlight. She approached him one evening while he repaired a broken power conduit. He worked with calm patience, sleeves rolled up, arms covered with faint scratches of work. Eris tilted her head, curious how he managed to stay awake after so many cycles without rest. "You have not slept in 2 nights," she said softly. He only smiled. "Humans can go all night when needed." Eris blinked, unsure if he spoke of work or something else. The phrase spread through the crew like a spark. They were a race that required long rest cycles after energy use. To them, endurance like that seemed impossible. Even Lyra overheard the words later in the corridor and paused. Something about them stirred an unfamiliar curiosity inside her. By the 4th day, the Silver Crest entered the shadow fields, a place where energy currents twisted like storms. The ship trembled, and the power crystals dimmed. Daniel rushed to the core chamber, his voice steady as he guided the alien engineers. His hands moved fast, reconnecting the power lines. Eris stood beside him, watching the sweat trace down his temple. When he shouted for more power, his voice carried a force that made even the crystals flare alive. The ship steadied. The danger passed. The crew stood in silent awe as the lights returned. Daniel wiped his face with a grin. For the first time, even Lyra felt her heart skip. This human who barely reached her shoulder had saved her ship through will and endurance alone. That night, while most of the crew rested, Lyra called Daniel to her quarters. The walls shimmered with soft blue light. She poured a drink from her world's rare fruit and offered it to him. He accepted with a nod. "You surprise me," she said quietly. "No one has ever kept this ship alive through that storm." "Sometimes surviving is about staying awake long enough to make it through," he replied. She studied him, her gaze steady but curious. "You humans push beyond reason. Do you not burn out?" He smiled again. "We do, but only after we finish what we start." Her lips curved faintly, the first smile he had ever seen from her. For a long moment, neither spoke. The hum of the ship filled the silence. She reached for the energy monitor beside them. Noticing the crystals glowing stronger again, "They react to you," she murmured. "Maybe they feel something familiar," he said. "Something alive." The next cycle brought new tension. The ship detected an incoming patrol from the hostile Kethan fleet. Lyra prepared the crew for stealth maneuvers. But Daniel proposed a riskier plan, diverting the energy to the lower thrusters and hiding inside a dense plasma field. The idea seemed reckless, yet his calm voice carried weight. Against every instinct, Lyra approved it. Hours later, the plan worked. The Kethans passed without noticing them. When the danger was gone, the crew cheered. Lyra turned to Daniel with quiet pride. "You have the instincts of a commander," she said. "No," he answered. "Just someone who refuses to lose." His words stayed in her mind. That night, she found herself walking to the observation deck. Daniel stood there, watching the stars drift by. When she joined him, neither spoke for a while. The silence was comfortable. "We were raised to think humans were fragile," she said finally. "Fragile things learn how to last," he replied. She turned her head slightly. His reflection in the glass looked calm, but his eyes carried the wear of long battles fought alone. She felt a strange respect for him and something softer she could not name. Over the next few weeks, Daniel became part of the rhythm of the ship. He ate with them, worked beside them, and even learned a few words of their tongue. Eris often teased him, trying to match his pace during maintenance shifts, but always failed first. She once asked how he could keep going without rest. He laughed softly. "Guess it's in the human design?" She shook her head, smiling. "You are an odd creature, Daniel." It's on the final night before docking at the Federation station, the Silver Crest hit one last energy surge. Systems began to fail again. This time, both Lyra and Eris worked beside him. The air grew hot, sparks flashing, alarms screaming. Daniel refused to stop. Even as exhaustion crept over the others, he pushed on, rerouting power until the main crystal stabilized. When silence finally returned, Lyra leaned against the console, breathing hard. Daniel stood before her, his hands shaking, yet his eyes still clear. She realized he had gone 3 days without rest again. "How do you do it?" she whispered. He smiled faintly. "Told you, humans can go all night." For the first time, she laughed, a soft, melodic sound that made even the weary crew lift their heads. That laughter spread through the corridors, through every glowing crystal. The ship seemed alive with it. When they finally docked, Lyra stood beside Daniel at the airlock. She looked at him for a long moment. "You changed how we see your kind," she said. "Not weak, just endlessly driven," he shrugged. "Guess we just hate giving up." Aris joined them, smiling. "And you make strange friends out of old enemies." The doors opened, light spilling across their faces. The mission was over, but something unspoken remained. In that moment, Lyra knew she would never again call humans fragile. The legend of the human who could go all night spread far beyond. The Silver Crest. Carried from one star to another, story not of strength, but of heart that refused to rest.